All right, so get this. We're taking a deep dive today into I am statements.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. You know how much power our words have?
Right.
And we wanted to explore that.
Okay.
Especially based on Joel Osteen's book.
Oh, yeah, The Power of I Am.
Yeah, exactly.
2 words that will change your life.
I love that subtitle.
Yeah.
So we asked you guys what you wanted us to deep dive into. And this book was like the top of the list.
Oh, wow.
So apparently you guys are as fascinated by this as we are.
Yeah, it's powerful stuff.
It really is.
I mean, the whole concept that what you say you attract.
It's like a magnet.
Yeah.
For your life.
And, you know, Osteen gives some really, I think, vivid examples.
Yeah.
If you're always saying, I am clumsy.
Oh, yeah.
You're probably going to trip more.
You're inviting it in.
You're inviting it, exactly.
And that's kind of a small example, but then he takes it even to like, I am old.
Yeah, you accelerate that aging process.
You're going to get more wrinkles if you're constantly telling yourself that.
Exactly. So, and then he takes it to like a biblical level.
Yeah, the story of Sarai.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, she couldn't have children.
Right.
And she had this I am statement, but it was I am barren.
I am a failure, probably.
Yeah, I am unworthy, maybe.
Yeah.
And God actually steps in and says, you know what? I'm changing your name to Sarah.
It means princess.
Which completely changes her I am statement.
Her whole identity.
Her whole identity.
And then, of course, she's able to have a child.
Right. So it's like her I am statement was so powerful that it was blocking what God wanted to do in her life.
Yeah. It makes you kind of think, what I am statements are you carrying?
Ooh, good question.
That might be holding you back.
I know. I have a few to work on.
Yeah, me too.
So, you know, he goes on to compare words to electricity.
Yeah, powerful.
Which is like a great analogy. Because, you know, we all know electricity can light up our homes.
Yeah.
But it can also be really dangerous.
You can start a fire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like the same with our words.
He reminds us in Proverbs,
Yes.
It says, death and life are in the power of the tongue.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah.
So it's not just thinking positive thoughts, it's actually like speaking them.
You got to speak it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so then he talks about speaking faith, even in silence.
Oh, yeah, this is an interesting one.
So it's like, what are we supposed to do when things are hard?
Right.
And, you know, he brings up the Israelites marching around Jericho.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right. Like God told them to be silent.
And they're marching around these walls.
These huge walls.
That doesn't seem like it's going to do anything.
Right. But he had a reason.
He had a plan.
Yeah.
And it was to keep them from speaking negativity. They could have easily been like, this is dumb. This isn't going to work.
We're never going to get in there.
Exactly. But their silence was actually an act of faith.
Wow.
And the walls came tumbling down.
So sometimes silence can be our biggest weapon.
Yeah, especially when we're tempted to speak doubt and negativity.
That's good. Okay, so then he starts getting into stories.
Real life example.
Yeah, he talks about this woman. And she was literally on the verge of suicide.
And she happened to hear his message.
Yeah, about God's ability to turn things around.
Turn any situation around.
And it saved her life.
Isn't that incredible?
It's powerful.
So powerful.
And there's the story of Romero.
Yeah.
This little boy born without ears.
Oh, wow.
And you know, the doctors were like, he'll never hear, he'll never speak.
Right.
But his parents were like, no, our son will hear and our son will speak.
Such a powerful declaration.
It really is.
Yeah.
And you know what? He defied the odds.
He did.
He learned to speak. So it's like, what are we speaking over our lives?
And what are we speaking over our loved ones' lives?
Wow, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Because our words are so powerful.
They really are. And I think that's what's so amazing about Osteen's message. He doesn't just tell us about the power of I am statements. He gives us real life examples that show us what's possible when we start speaking faith-filled words over our lives.
It's really inspiring.
Yeah.
It is. So I'm really excited to dive even deeper into this.
Me too.
Yeah.
He's got so many more great stories and insights to share.
Let's do it.
Okay. You know, it's interesting, though, because sometimes you think, well, what if it's too late for me?
Yeah, you messed up too much.
I've blown it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, how can God's plan still work if I've made so many mistakes?
Right.
But Osteen uses the perfect story to illustrate that it's never too late.
Oh, yeah. Who paid her?
The guy who denied Jesus 3 times.
I mean, talk about messing up.
Yeah, right? Like, if anyone's blown it, it's Peter.
And it's so human, right?
It is.
Like, you can imagine that fear.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he feels so bad afterward.
But then Jesus forgives him.
Yeah.
And restores him.
It's so powerful.
And that's what Osteen wants us to remember, that our mistakes don't disqualify us from God's plan.
It's about coming back to him.
And recognizing that our performance doesn't define our identity.
Oh, that's good.
You know, we might mess up sometimes, but we're still loved by God.
Still his children.
Exactly.
Okay, but then there's this other thing, right?
What's that?
Like, life is hard.
Yeah.
It's like, it's really, really hard.
And we make bad choices.
Yeah, and bad things happen to us.
Yeah.
And it feels like, is God even there?
Right. Does he even care?
Yeah.
Well, Osteen talks about this concept of the frame.
The frame.
Yeah, have you ever thought about that? Like the boundaries God puts around our lives to keep us safe, to guide us to our destiny.
Like guardrails.
Yeah.
Exactly. So even when we're messing up, we're still in those guardrails.
Within the frame.
Within the frame. Okay.
He uses the story of Jonah running from God, trying to escape his calling.
Literally getting swallowed by a big fish.
Which is like that frame pushing him back towards where he's supposed to be.
Okay, I like that.
So even when we try to run the other way, God's got us.
He's got us.
He's got a plan.
And it's a good plan.
A good plan.
Even if it doesn't feel like it sometimes.
Right, and this frame isn't just for us as individuals. Yeah. It extends to our loved ones, too.
Okay.
So, you know, if you have a child who's making choices you don't agree with, they're still within God's frame.
Still protected.
Still protected.
So we can relax a little bit.
Yeah. Osteen encourages parents to stay in peace.
Okay.
Knowing that their children are never truly outside of God's reach.
That's good.
And our prayers have power.
So we can pray that frame gets a little smaller.
Exactly. We can envision those boundaries tightening.
Bringing them back.
Drawing them back to safety and to their purpose.
That is good to remember.
Isn't it?
Because sometimes it feels like they're so far gone.
Right, but God's still working.
Okay, so speaking of God working in weird ways.
What do you mean?
Osteen tells this story about a guy in jail.
Oh, yeah.
And he found salvation because another inmate wanted to watch Joel Osteen on TV.
I love that story.
Right? It's like, come on.
It's so unexpected.
God is working even in jail.
Even through a TV show.
It's amazing.
It's a reminder to never underestimate God's ability to work in any situation.
Yeah, no matter how hopeless it seems.
And even those experiences that we might perceive as negative could be part of God's frame, pushing us or our loved ones towards a greater purpose.
So it's all part of the plan.
It's all part of the plan, but, you know, Osteen doesn't shy away from the tough stuff either.
Yeah, life isn't always easy.
He acknowledges that pain and suffering are part of the human experience.
Right.
We will face challenges.
Yeah.
Disappointments.
It's inevitable.
And sometimes God feels distant.
Like, why isn't he answering my prayers?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he encourages us to remember that even in those moments, God is still present.
Even when we can't feel him.
Even when we can't feel him.
So how do we do that?
How do we remember that when we're hurting?
Yeah.
Well, he shares a story of Tammy Trent.
Tammy Trent, oh yeah.
Who lost her husband in a diving accident.
The day before 9/11.
A day before 9/11.
Could you imagine?
I mean, talk about a double whammy of grief and trauma.
Yeah, it's almost unimaginable.
But in that moment of darkness, she reached out to God.
Even though she probably felt so abandoned.
Right. Like, why would I even pray?
Yeah.
But she prayed a simple prayer.
What was it?
She said, God, if you still care, send someone to help me.
Wow.
Send someone to let me know you're still there.
Okay.
And he did.
He did.
A woman from her husband's record company showed up at her door.
So crazy.
And as it turns out, this woman was supposed to be on one of the flights that was canceled because of 9/11.
Oh my gosh, that is like a divine appointment.
It is.
Wow.
So even when we feel utterly alone, God is working to bring us comfort and support.
And connection.
And connection, exactly.
Tammy's story is so powerful.
It's a reminder to choose faith over fear.
Yeah.
Even when it's incredibly difficult.
Okay, so we've heard all these great stories. And we understand the power of I am statements.
Yeah.
And that God has a frame around our lives.
Right.
But how do we actually apply this?
That's the question.
Like I need practical tips.
Me too.
So what does Osteen say?
Well, he emphasizes the importance of being intentional.
Intentional about
what we're feeding our minds.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because what we feed our minds determines what we speak out.
It's like garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly.
So if we're constantly feeding ourselves negativity, that's what's going to come out.
Right.
Okay, so we need to retrain our minds.
Yeah, we need to switch from a default setting of negativity to a more faith-filled perspective.
So how do we do that?
Well, he suggests some practical steps.
Oh, okay. I like practical steps.
He says, read the Bible.
Makes sense.
Fill your mind with God's promises.
Okay. Listen to uplifting music.
Yeah.
Surround yourself with positive people.
Good advice.
And even take care of your physical health.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
Getting enough sleep, eating healthy foods, exercising regularly.
It all affects our mental state.
It does.
So it's not just about thinking the right thoughts.
Right.
It's about creating an environment
Yeah.
that supports our spiritual and emotional growth.
Exactly. And making choices that nourish our souls.
So faith is more than just what we believe.
It's how we live.
It's about putting our faith into action.
Yeah.
And speaking it out loud.
Aligning our actions with our beliefs.
I love that.
It's about moving beyond passive belief and into active participation
Okay.
in our own transformation.
We become co-creators with God.
Yes.
I like that.
We have a role to play.
Yeah, it's not all up to him.
Right. And as we step into that role
Uh-huh.
and start speaking those faith-filled I am statements,
Yeah.
we'll see amazing shifts in our lives.
Oh, like what?
Obstacles overcome.
Okay. Relationships healed.
Wow.
Dreams coming true.
That's awesome.
It's about recognizing that we're not limited by our past or our circumstances.
Right?
But that we can step into the fullness of who God created us to be.
And our words can help us get there.
Absolutely.
That's the power of I am.
That's the power of I am. It's really amazing, isn't it? How much power those two words hold.
I am. I am.
Yeah, it's a key.
It unlocks so much potential.
And it's interesting how central those words are in the Bible.
Oh, totally.
Like, when Moses asked God, who should I say sent me?
Right. And God's like, I am, W-H-O, I am. Talk about a powerful I am statement.
Right. And it's not just a name.
No.
It's a statement of his authority.
His power.
The source of everything.
And it's like we're made in his image.
Yeah, so we have access to that power, too.
It's inside of us.
And these I am statements are like igniting that spark.
Whoa.
And when we declare who we are in Christ,
Mm-hmm.
we step into that authority. We start to see those changes.
It's like the universe has to realign
I have no choice.
to accommodate our truth.
Yeah, our words become the architect of our reality.
Oh, that's good.
I think that's so empowering.
It is.
We're not just, sitting back and waiting for God to do everything.
Right. We have a part to play.
We're co-creators.
So we got to use our words carefully.
Speak life and victory.
And step into who we're meant to be.
Yeah, and as we do that,
Yeah.
we'll see those ripple effects.
Oh, how so?
Our words can impact others.
Okay.
Spread hope and encouragement.
We become like these walking, talking I am statements.
Exactly.
And, this isn't just about theory.
No, it's practical.
It's about changing our lives.
Yeah, living with more purpose.
Taking these ideas from Osteen's book and actually using them.
It's a blueprint for a better life.
So as we finish up here,
Yeah.
what resonated with you most?
What are you going to start saying?
Ooh, good question.
What's your new I am statement?
I think for me, it's remembering that God's got this, even when I can't see it. So I am at peace, knowing God is working everything for my good.
That's beautiful.
What about you?
I think for me, I'm empowered by God's anointing to overcome any obstacle and fulfill my destiny.
Wow.
It's a reminder that I'm not alone.
He's got your back.
Yeah, I can tap into his power.
To achieve anything he's called me to do.
Exactly.
Love that.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
keep exploring these ideas from the book.
Pay attention to your words.
Speak those faith-filled I am statements.
You are not ordinary.
You are a masterpiece.
Created by God.
You have a purpose.
Step into that identity.
Embrace the power of I am.
And watch what God does.
He can do amazing things.
Until next time.
Keep diving deep.
Did you get any of that? Did you get any of that?